Good afternoon, everyone. All right, it's about nearly 1:30, so we're beginning again. We're going to be starting our crime, well-being, and society session. Our session co-chair for this afternoon is going to be Professor Kevin Haynes.
You're applauding there, I haven't even spoken yet. You don't know what I'm going to say, do you? Welcome everybody to the Crime, Wellbeing and Society session. As EJ just said, my name's Kevin Haynes and I'm Professor of Criminology and Public Safety here at UTT. I'm going to share the presenting this afternoon with Dr. Linda Mohammed, but she's also presenting one of the papers, so she'll take over about halfway through. Crime, it seems, is a national obsession in Trinidad and Tobago. And whilst freedom of the press is a very great thing, the media tends to just focus on all the crime that's happening. The presentations that you're going to hear this afternoon will begin to look underneath some of the crimes that are happening. We need to understand why we've got the kinds of crimes that we have in the numbers that we have committed by the people that we have. We need to look underneath what you read in the media every day, what's scaring the bejeebers out of everybody. We need to understand some of this stuff before we can begin to move to do things that are positive about it. And the notion of well-being in society is quite deliberate, because although crime is never nice, it's never a nice thing to be a victim of crime, it's also possible to address crime in constructive ways, in positive ways. We know that repression doesn't work. Repression just causes more problems. And so the work that you're going to be hearing about today, in the broadest possible sense, is beginning to address how we can do something constructive, something positive to deal with the crime situation in Trinidad and Tobago. So I hope you enjoy the presentations that we've got for you today. They're very fast and furious. We've got 12 minutes for each one. So that basically means about 7 minutes for the presentation and then 5 minutes for questions. We'll take questions immediately after the presentations. And we've got 7 or 8 to get through, so hopefully we'll get through this without any particular problems. So I'd first of all like to welcome to the stage Mr. Adesh Miraj, please. Is he here? Here he is. He's coming. I'll do a quick song and dance while he makes his way to the stage.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. So this afternoon I'll be presenting my research titled A Novel Approach to Traffic Light and Road Sign Detections Using Machine Learning Techniques. So with the search for alternative energy sources, we see companies like Tesla invest a lot in the electrification of the automobile. As we know, they recently released a lot of electric cars with autonomous and semi-autonomous features, and they are looking at the development of a fleet of driverless trucks, electric trucks for use in the US and Sweden. So this is slowly evolving into a new industry, right? Driverless cars. And one of the goals of the university is to focus on local and global research, which is why we decided to get our feet into this problem area. So this is why we decided to focus on the recognition of traffic lights and road signs. The base technology for this is, of course, computer vision, specifically object recognition and detection using machine learning and image processing. So this is some supporting material for the project. Of course, we wouldn't have time to go through all of this, but point to note, bullet number 4, urban areas provide a new set of challenges which require more sophisticated algorithms. So this is why this is still an open area of research. Other supporting material, this is what other companies are doing with this technology. Google's driverless car, and of course Volvo is also trying to develop a truck to compete with Tesla. So the goal of this project is using a visual approach, and only a visual approach, accurately detect and classify both traffic lights and traffic signs in real time and maintain real-time performance throughout the duration of the input stream. The real-time processing is the difficult part of this project because of the amount of data we have to process. So for this prototype, we use HD video 720p, When you do the math, that works out to a little over 900,000 pixels. If you take the three color spaces into account, red, green, and blue, that works out to a little over 2.7 million pixels. You have 30 frames per second per video, so for 1 second of video, you're looking at almost 83 million calculations for one operation. And of course, you can't find a traffic light with just one operation, there's multiple. So when you're dealing with these kind of numbers, it tends to become difficult very fast. So on the machine learning side of things, we decided to go with a linear support vector machine for two reasons. One, there was a lot of literature that supports it. And two, the linear support vector machine answers questions in a linear manner. So it gives yes or no answers. Is it a red traffic light or not? Is it a green traffic light or not? Is it a stop sign or not? So it's easy to make decisions based on that kind of feedback. So the architecture of the prototype, we went with 5 linear support vector machines, 2 for traffic lights and 3 for road signs. We didn't focus on all the traffic signs. We decided to focus on 3 for this prototype. Training material, we used the Bosch traffic light data set. This was taken online, and also local videos taken in Trinidad using a smartphone. So sampling techniques, again, the prototype was tested using the online data set, the Bosch data set I just spoke about. Real-world testing using the videos we took here in Trinidad. And from those videos, we generated our own machine learning training set. And that was also used not just to train the prototype, but to test the prototype for accuracy. So the results, using the online data set, we achieved 85.3% accuracy. Some misclassification was due to some dark patches and whatnot, but mainly it was due to a red and blue filter that was applied to all the sample images in this data set. Of course, we could have refined the prototype to increase the accuracy here. However, we took the decision to focus on data taken from a local context here in Trinidad and Tobago. So for the local data, a total of 6 smartphone videos with over 30 traffic regions each. We achieved 5 or less misclassification per video. So at its worst, 83.3% accuracy, and at its highest, 98% accuracy. This is an image showing the prototype in action. So you see it actually classified the traffic light objects and ignored all the other objects on the frame. So that works pretty well. We also achieved nighttime functionality. So even though it's a visual approach and there's an absence of light, it was still able to function at night. The traffic signs, we achieved less desirable results, and this was due to pixelation. So as you know, smartphones, there's a lot of algorithms that smoothens the image, beautify. You take selfies and whatnot, to smoothen the face and whatnot, especially for the woman. So that's not really good for this sort of project. On the left here, this is a no parking sign. And due to the pixelation, again, it was almost impossible to find. Now, looking at the image on your phone, it would seem okay to your eye because you're looking at it in your color space. When you take it to another color space is where the pixelation becomes apparent. For example, this. So, to work around the limitation, we decided to take another video and focus the phone to the left-hand side of the screen, of the vehicle. So in other words, where the signs are likely to be, just to decrease the amount of pixelation that took place. Using this video, we achieved 73% accuracy. Again, not very high, but it proves that with higher input quality, the results would, the accuracy would increase. So this is a screenshot showing the detection of a road sign. Quickly, some use cases and commercialization. So this technology could be used to develop a general purpose driver assistant, specifically for Trinidad and Tobago, or international, depending on what you train it on. Again, this technology could be applied to any unstructured problem. If you want to locate brain tumors, you can. You just need to train it on locating brain tumors. And of course, we like to look forward to the development of a driverless car kit. So Tesla is focused on releasing brand new vehicles. We are looking to convert existing vehicles to have semi-autonomous features. Future work, again, this is ongoing research, so we'll work towards increasing the accuracy, especially at night. But future work, we would like to integrate this with an actual vehicle, have it working on a 12-volt power source so it could function on regular gasoline-powered vehicles, and possibly work towards an MPhil or PhD. So to conclude, the contribution for this project, image processing, the creation of a machine learning training set. We implemented 5 support vector machines, and we developed a functional prototype to test the algorithms. Quick acknowledgements, Dr. Loris Phillips, he's my primary supervisor, Mr. Fitzroy Saunders, and Ms. Lisa Warwood. This video shows the prototype in action. So Pardon the choppy video, but I was trying to record it on a laptop, and just recording, it took about 80% of the CPU. So there was no processing overhead left for the program to run. But it still shows the detection of the traffic lights. Notice that the boxes around the traffic lights are not a static size. This, again, was due to pixelation. Again, with a higher quality input, this should be rectified. So at this point, I'll start taking questions. Questions, comments, concerns, feedback? Exactly. What physical device? The prototype is actually fairly efficient. It really depends on the resolution of the input stream. If you use something like 4K video, then the pixels increase immensely and it'll increase the amount of calculation that they need to do. But as long as the resolution is reasonable, for example, 720p or even 1080, it could actually run on a Raspberry Pi just fine. Yeah. You may need to use the microphone. Sorry about that.
Okay. Do you see us in the future designing, or maybe even UTT, designing traffic lights and signs to be machine friendly? As a model to use maybe all about in the world that wants to implement the technology?
Well, I believe that as the industry grows, eventually the signs and whatnot will have to cater for these vehicles, so making it easy to recognize from a video input. However, it will require legislative changes and whatnot, so it may not be done in the short term, but definitely as the industry grows and lawmakers become aware, changes will need to be made. Yeah. Any other questions? No? Sure.
We are beginning to send satellites to explore the galaxy. I guess such a technology will be quite useful as we try to identify what we see over there. Some of these will be at the forefront in our need to explore.
Yeah. Absolutely right. This technology, as I mentioned, could be adapted to many other fields. In the medical field, for example, we're looking at computer-aided diagnosis. So the computer is not making the full decision to say, okay, yes, the patient has stage 4 cancer, but it will draw out regions of interest on an MRI to advise the doctor, hey, this is an area that you should look into. These are other applications for the same technology, object recognition. So it depends on what you train the model on, it'll identify that. So if there are no other questions, thank you very much.
Thank you, Adesh. You know, this kind of research is really, really important, not necessarily for what it is in itself, but for what it makes possible. Not only can this research lead to improvements in traffic flow, which will mean that my colleagues complain less about driving to the office from south every day, not only would it lead to fewer accidents on the roads, but also it's going to lead to improvements in vehicles that mean that when I drive up the highway, I'm not breathing in lots of diesel fumes from trucks that are killing me and your children. The World Health Organization estimates that due to pollution, it takes 5 years off a person's life. That's 7.5 million years off the life of the population of Trinidad and Tobago. That far exceeds the murder rate. And it's technology like this that's going to mean that Adesh in 10 years' time is going to be a multimillionaire. And that's why I'm being so nice to him now. Thank you, Adesh. I'd like to introduce now Dr. Linda Mohammed, who's one of my colleagues, so her presentation is going to be brilliant. And I've been asked to remind everybody that please use the microphones when you ask questions so that everybody can hear. Thank you.